Hi, this is Interim Chief Education Officer Bill Olsen, and I want to welcome you to another school district update. It's hard to believe that we already have 1 month of school behind us. We're in an exciting time of the year. The fall and early winter months bring Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and a number of cultural and religious observances. Wonderful time of year for families, for our students, and for our staff. Today's program will focus on the professional development that we just conducted on Friday, October 7th. Many parents over the years have asked what actually happens during a professional development day when students are not in classrooms, they're home for the day. Well, professional development is an important part of any organization's development and improvement. And a school district is no exception. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a picture of what transpired last Friday with all of our staff. We had a lot of energy that was evident, some excellent presenters, some great discussions, and a lot of growth of our staff in terms of understanding and interacting with each other and connecting and bringing about strong collaboration and improvement in our practice. So I want to talk about the elementary and middle school initially. At the elementary and middle school, we have had our teachers participate in the responsive classroom program. It's an approach, academic and social emotional approach for teachers that focuses on 4 domains, and I will get to those in a second. The responsive classroom program has been around for a considerable amount of time. It's used by many school systems across the nation. Teachers like it very much. They like the strategies that they learn for working with the students both academically and behaviorally in the classrooms. So the responsive classroom program, as I said, focuses on 4 domains. And the first domain is engaging academics. Responsive classroom strategies that teachers learn allow our teachers to really help engage students as thoroughly as possible, as completely as possible, promotes curiosity, interest, helps students with the strategies that the teachers employ to develop higher order thinking skills, which is extraordinarily important. The second domain is developing a positive community in the classroom. It's important for all students to have a feeling that they belong in their respective class. And that sense of belonging is extraordinarily important to every child feeling safe and feeling like the teacher believes in them. And that's what we stress, is that we want every faculty member to believe in every single student in their classroom. We're all crossing the finish line, no stragglers left behind. Yes, some may proceed to the finish line faster than others, and that's life. That's the process of growth and development, and we all differ in various areas and disciplines and interests, but we're all crossing the finish line by the end of the year. The third domain is effective management. Helps teachers develop strategies to promote autonomy, to promote student learning, to promote collaboration, connecting, to promote teamwork, a very active approach to learning by students, not passive like a person like myself engaged in when I was growing up in an elementary school. We sat there in desks that were all in a row. We heard the same thing. We learned the same thing at the same time in the same methodology. No breakout into groups or interest areas, etc. So things have changed, and things have changed dramatically in the field of education. We want students to take more and more ownership of their learning because they're willing to do that, and they do that, and they accept that challenge very well. And the fourth domain is a developmentally responsive teaching strategy overall for the entire year. We want teachers to understand our students from an academic perspective, a cognitive perspective, a social, emotional, physical, and developmental perspective, to understand the whole child. and to work with each child on an individual basis to the greatest extent possible. Our teachers were very receptive to the responsive classroom strategies, and we will continue with that approach because it only provides quality instruction, quality behavioral management, classroom management, which is extraordinarily important. At the high school, the teachers engaged in a review and a follow-up to the NEASC accreditation review that took place last year. NEASC, N-E-A-S-C, stands for New England Association of Schools and Colleges, and that is an accreditation process that provides colleges, universities, and the general public with the overall quality and standards that exist in the high school compared to best practice standards across the nation. High school fared very well in the NEASC accreditation, and we're very proud of them, very proud of the staff and the administration, because it's virtually a year's worth of preparation prior to the NEASC accreditation visit actually taking place. And so I salute the work that was done by the faculty and the administration of the high school, the students also, because they did an extraordinary amount of work. They also worked on the refinement of a vision of a graduate, which they constructed as part of the NEASC accreditation process. What is it that we want students to be able to know and do in a comprehensive profile of academic development prior to graduation? Very, very important work that the teachers worked at very, very aggressively. They also did, some of the staff, not all, but some of the staff, did a curriculum audit, which is extraordinarily important in terms of understanding where our curriculum is at the high school in a variety of disciplines, all core content areas. Where is it in relation to the modernness, for lack of a better term, the current nature of the curriculum, and the alignment with the state's curriculum standards? We don't want to have any curriculum in any content area in any grade level of our school district that is aging. There should never be a curriculum that's more than 5 years old. And the curriculum renewal process is an never-ending, ongoing process to make sure that we remain current in the information that we are presenting to students and the conversations that we have in the engagement with students. We want the curriculum to be robust. We want the curriculum to be relevant. Relevance is very important because students need to know how certain concepts can be used in life. You know, some of the more difficult courses that students often take are physics and geometry. But those are two courses that I think every student should take in high school because there is so much applicability of the concepts in physics and geometry to everyday living, to measurements, to approximations, to understanding what happens around us and why it happens around us. So a great work by the high school teachers in terms of the follow-up work on the NEASC review, the follow-up work on the vision of a graduate, and the curriculum audit that brought some revision and alignment, and we will continue to work on curriculum revision and updating every single year. Our Title I tutors, who are very valuable members of our school community, had some professional development in the area of math and literacy training so that they can be more effective as possible in working with the students who may need some intervention services in those Title I eligible schools, and our interventionists who are non-Title I employees also receive that math and literacy training. English language learner teachers, the teachers who work with children whose main language at home is not English, and their main language, their primary language is not English. Those teachers also had some very interesting and productive work. They actually worked on a compliance plan to be submitted, a revised compliance plan to be submitted to the state, because there are certain federal and state regulations that pertain to what school systems need to do to make sure we educate as effectively as possible children whose primary language is not English. In terms of our special education professional development, I know Heather Barker, our special education director, was very active in providing some excellent training to our staff. A lot of our staff received training, our SPED staff, on self-compassion and self-regulation, how to work effectively with students who sometimes become dysregulated, okay? And that's extraordinarily important. Sometimes just a simple transition for a student with a disability can be very, very challenging. And it's very important for our staff to have the strategies, to have the tools, to have the techniques on how to work with those children and make sure they become more regulated and can access, therefore, their learning more effectively during the school day. They also receive training, our teachers also receive training on special education compliance and procedures that need to take place. You know, special education, when we talk about special education, we not only talk about the delivery of instruction to our students, but it's the testing, the record keeping, the documentation, all of the paperwork that is absolutely required by law to make sure that we possess and present to the Department of Education from time to time to ensure them that we are complying in all regards to timelines, to the record keeping, to the documentation that needs to be kept in a timely manner. That's extraordinarily important, and we're working very aggressively on that this year. Our administrators have already had 2 training sessions with our special education legal counsel to make sure everyone, all of us, not only teachers in the classroom, but all of us are aware of those compliance measures and procedures that need to be followed in special education. Our paraeducators also receive training on instructional strategies for working with students who have disabilities. Very valuable training, and it's extraordinarily important for us to include paraeducators in our training. You know, these are people who, some of whom have college degrees, some don't, but they serve an extraordinarily important instructional role in our school system. They're valued as much as any employee, any staff member in the entire system. I want to compliment Fern Seiden. Fern will be making a presentation to our school board at the upcoming meeting on October 17th. Fern has worked with others in collaboration to write a grant and receive a grant from the United Way, and she will develop a program for K and 1 students, kindergarten and first grade students, on self-regulation skills, managing emotions. What we've been finding in this profession over the last 10 years is children are coming to school a little bit more dysregulated, with a little bit more emotional behavior than they ever have in prior years. So we need to adjust and adapt to that and change the way we do business in a school district. And part of that change is learning more effectively how to work with children whose behaviors sometimes get in the way of their learning during the course of a day. And so I congratulate Fern for all of her work. Fern is our Director of Student Wellness. She has done an outstanding job in helping our staff and in helping our students also maintain as much regulation in their behaviors as possible. Our kindergarten and preschool students also are learning across the school district the Handwriting Without Tears program, which is a program that has been research-based, well-documented, a very effective program. Many school districts, once again, across the nation are using this program, and we're bringing this to our teachers and our kindergarten and first grade students across the school district. And this will definitely pay dividends to students in terms of their writing skills, but also in terms of their word recognition skills. And that's a very, very important component in literacy. I want to congratulate Kylie Russo, one of our Reed's Ferry teachers. Kylie just recently made a presentation at the Northeastern Philosophy of Education Society meeting at Villanova University. She was one of only a few people selected to make a presentation, and so we congratulate Kylie. Our football team has played an important role beyond the football field. During the summer, a lot of the furnishings in the school library, the school media center at the high school were changed. Out with the old, the furnishings, in with the new, to provide students with a new, it's called the Learning Commons approach as a media center. And many, many members of the football team put in hours and hours of work of moving furniture, the old furniture out, the new furniture in, helping with the setup. And so we sincerely thank them, because they're great students doing wonderful things for our school district. We also want to congratulate the Merrimack High School Marching Band, which continues to receive praise from everyone who listens to them, and their director, Bunny Serenita. Bunny, as you know, is a highly, highly respected music teacher and is in charge of the Merrimack High School Band. They're an outstanding band, and as a former trumpet player at Chelmsford High School many, many years ago, I've heard them play, and they're sensational. So congratulations to the band and Bunny. We want to end the program. I want to end the program by telling you that we have just updated an emergency management trifold brochure here. This is being distributed to students in elementary and middle schools. It's going to be online for parents, all parents, but particularly those at the high school level. And what it does is explains to you a little bit about what happens if there is an emergency in our school district, particularly an emergency that requires students to evacuate from one building to another building. And that happened just last week when we lost water because of a construction project in the area, and someone hit a water line. We had to move the students for sanitary reasons, for the ability to access water and to access restrooms. We had to move students to Thornton's Ferry and then back to Reed's Ferry. And I want to thank all of our staff, the administration, the bus company, our transportation coordinator for the outstanding job, and Matt Chevenel, our school finance director. Matt coordinated the entire move with the building principals and the transportation coordinator and the bus company. Everything worked very, very smoothly. The students were excellent, and it was actually a successful day of school for them. But on the back, I want to point out to everyone that here is a parent guardian to-do list, that if your child should happen to be evacuated to a different school, here's what you need to do and here's what you need to possess to make sure that we can safely and securely release your child to you. Okay, we don't want to just release a child to anyone who comes through the door. You have to have appropriate documentation to make sure that you are the appropriate parent or guardian of that particular child. Because emergency planning not only involves what we do with our students and our staff during the emergency, but also how we account for them when they're evacuated, how we release them to you as a parent or guardian to make sure that they are safely home at the end of the day. Well, that is it for right now. I always enjoy spending a few minutes to let you know what's happening in the school district. I will do this program every 2 weeks, and I thank you for watching. This is Bill Olsen. I'll see you next time.